us 49ers fans are waiting so badly to come back from the offseason because the 49ers are finally going to win a Super Bowl. So let's talk about it. 49ers unfiltered with Keanu Vasquez. Let's get to it. Here we go. First video. Today we're going to start off with talking about the 2026 NFL schedule release announcements that have come out so far. We know that the Seahawks are playing week 1, obviously, against we don't know who. We know the Niners and Rams are playing week 1 in Australia. We know the Giants and Cowboys are playing week 1, Sunday Night Football. Bills, Lions, I believe it was week 2, Thursday Night Football. Yes, right there. Ravens, Cowboys, Eagles. Yep, but we're going to talk about real quick the Niners and Rams, though. I'm so disappointed, bro, because the Niners always literally have home field advantage at SoFi Stadium. That's my local stadium, obviously, even though I'm a Niner fan, so I make sure I go to that one every year. This year, luckily, we play the Chargers at SoFi, so hopefully I'll be able to make that game. Schedule release is coming out. We're going to talk about that more later, but it's coming out soon. That's why I wanted to start. But these are the off-season moves that the 49ers have made. So as you can see all the moves, I don't got to read all of them. You can see them. We're going to be ranking the moves from this offseason. I'm really stoked about the moves we made, but some of them, even if it's not as impactful, I think I trust John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan from, where they took us, because I've been a fan for a while. I've been a fan since we were 4-12 and having terrible seasons back to back when Kaepernick left. And, so I have major respect for the moves they made to turn us around and allow us to be a good organization. So I think that no moves, just to be clear, this offseason were a bad thing, to be honest, because I just believe them that much. But we're going to rank them from what I think. We got Super Bowl impact, phenomenal pool, potential impact, good for depth, iffy, and could have lived without. You see the colors I do? The gray area is the good for depth. Super Bowl impact, obviously that's what we want. So let's just get straight to it. Let's just start with Dre Greenlaw. Straight up, bro. That is probably the most exciting thing about this offseason to me. Just because the fact that I remember the Fred Warner, Dre Greenlaw duo. And I know that nobody forgot the Super Bowl injury that Dre Greenlaw came with 2 years ago when it was not supposed to happen. That was just so unfortunate. I truly, truly, truly to my soul believe the Niners would have won that if it wasn't for Dre Greenlaw getting hurt. So we will run it back and we'll find out this time. So, like I just talked about, Super Bowl impact, I think it's a clear option here for Dre Greenlaw. I'm excited about that duo being back. D. Winters would have been a dope trio. Bro, what am I thinking? Trio, bro. Would be a crazy trio. So yeah, let's move on. Eddie P. Finally, we have a solidified kicker. Sorry, Jake Moody. You were great for a season. I think your rookie season. I was like, okay, maybe it's a good thing we drafted him, but I don't know what happened. Kickers just be losing their confidence pretty easily. So there's that. But Eddie P, I'm really glad we re-signed him. Where would I put him though? I think it's a phenomenal pool, to be honest. Kickers are very important, and the 49ers proved to us how important that was because we did not have a proper kicker since Robbie Gould, to be honest. Excuse me, sorry, I'm drinking my 49ers cup that I actually got from my dad. This is really nice, huh? Anyways, Jake Tonjes, re-sign. I was stoked about that. I think that's great for depth. I think George Kittle potentially not coming back week 1. But I hear from the Niners news and stuff that he's pushing, or I believe Kyle Shanahan said it, that he's pushing for week 1. So we're all hoping for that. But we're also hoping that he doesn't speed up his healing process because we want him to be healthy for when it matters to win the Super Bowl this year. Which I truly believe. I'm not one of those fans where I'm a Cowboys fan and I'm like, this is our year. Trust me, last year I knew it was a rebuild year. And this year I am strongly saying this is a year that we can for sure finally pull it off and get across the hill. Kind of like the Dodgers. They were there for a while. That's my team too. And they finally got over the hump. I think we'll do that this year. This will be our 2020 year like the Dodgers had to get over the hump finally. All right, so Jake Tonjes, though. Good for depth. I don't think it's a mid good for depth, though. I think it's a potential impact where if George Kittle's not back, Tonjes could have a huge impact right away in the season. Now we go to Luke Gifford. Great re-sign. I think that this is one of the underrated re-signs that I like. I mean, other than the fact that people know he went to the Pro Bowl, I'm pretty sure, if people paid attention. But I saw here when I like looked into him more, because I was like, I knew he started last year, but I didn't know that he had 170 defensive snaps. I think that's a solid amount of snaps. It's half of his special team snaps. And obviously he's a Pro Bowl special teamer. So I thought this was really surprising, but not surprising at the same time, because obviously our linebackers were hurt last year, and Lou Gifford stepping up was huge. So I'm really glad we did that re-sign. So I think that is, honestly, special teams wise, is a potential impact, but I know it's an impact. Honestly, I'll put it in potential pool, because in the category of what he plays, which is special teams, he is exactly what we need. Special teams is important. I think us Niner fans, we know that, and we saw that already. Kickers, special teamers like Lou Gifford, doesn't matter. Anybody on special teams are very important, just as important as people on offense and defense. Okay, Sam Oku. I want to pronounce it so bad. I thought it was Sam Okuwanu, but I think it's Sam Okunanu, because I always, when I watch the games, bro, I swear they say my name Keanu, and it trips me out. So I'm pretty sure it's something along those lines. Anyways, them re-signing him, I think was huge. Wait, no, he didn't get re-signed. I messed that up. Wait, it's a departure, right? Departure. Oh no, we re-signed him. Yeah, we did. Okay, that's a huge re-signing, I believe, because like I said, I always hear it on my TV. I always hear his name. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really look at our D-line too much, other than, Bosa's been our major pillar piece on there. But I do hear Sam's name a lot. And as a D lineman, that's a good thing. As an O lineman, that's a bad thing. As a D lineman, if you hear that name a lot, then that's great. And obviously our D lineman depth is good this year. Thank goodness. This offseason, we definitely focused on that, because last year that was a little bit of a problem. Obviously injuries everywhere. Linebacker, D lineman. Yep. But this is a great piece. I think it's good for depth, because we obviously have Nick Bosa. We obviously have Michael Williams. We just brought in Osa, which actually, let's do that one next. Osa Adigizua is going to be a great piece for the D lineman. I honestly think this is people understand Osa's good, but this is an underrated, not talked about enough Super Bowl impact, in my opinion, just because obviously people are going to focus on Bosa. Michael Williams could break out, but Osa is going to be that force on our D lineman, I believe. And it's going to show. So I'm going to put that on Super Bowl impact. I think that he could show up at the end of games in the playoffs. I could see that happening. I could see that he makes the big play with Bosa, maybe even, or maybe they're focusing on Bosa and he's able to just have his moment in the playoffs. And I'm talking very far ahead, but I think that he is that type of Super Bowl impact. Maybe even win the Super Bowl, get the game-winning sealing sack, but we will see. We will see. Okay, Patrick Taylor re-sign. I think that's an obvious good for depth. Bro, these ads. If you guys have better tier lists, I don't have this many ads, let me know, comment down below. But Patrick Taylor, I already know, good for depth. He's been around for a couple years. He was like our third string running back last year. I think he's solid. I saw him run a little bit at the end of one of the games. I think he's solid, but I think he's just good for depth, especially after we signed Kalen Black. That was a great draft pick. I think he's going to be our running back too. And then I think, to be honest, Garendo I liked a lot, but what I'm hearing from when I watch David Lombardi, Isaac Garendo is not in the mix. And that is surprising to me. Bro is pretty fast, but we'll see how that goes. Anyways, Patrick Taylor is just a good depth piece though. But not a superstar, at least of what I've seen so far. So I think that's fair. So Trent Williams, re-sign. He's a freaking beast. I am hyped about this, obviously, as any Niner fan is. We've been waiting for this, and finally he re-signed. When I saw that he re-signed, huge sigh of relief. And I think you could easily say that Trent Williams is a Super Bowl impact type of player. Obviously, he's arguably the best player on our team. Jauan Jennings trade. This one broke my heart. I'm not gonna lie. This one very much broke my heart, because this is me and my boy Jauan Jennings. When I went, actually with this jersey too, I went to the Niners and the Niners Bears game, the game of the year, the game of the decade, arguably, in my opinion. I think it's going to be the best game I'll ever go to as a Niner fan. But yeah, Jauan took a quick picture with me at the hotel that I was staying nearby the stadium. But so this one really broke my heart. Jauan's a dog. The Vikings are getting a good one. Let's look into it a little bit more after we do the tiers. But Jauan Jennings trade, I could have lived without it. I'm going to be honest. But from what I hear from David Lombardi, from the 49ers, like Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch in their press conferences, seemed like there wasn't a great relationship to end off. So it's unfortunate, but obviously my point I wanted to make before we move on to this after we do this segment, Jauan Jennings did get a $13 million deal, and I believe we were offering around the same. So that's just unfortunate because imagine Jauan Jennings with the receiver room that we have now. Mike Evans, Christian Kirk, I don't know how to pronounce his name perfectly yet, but Jauan Stribling and Ricky Pearsall. Don't forget about Ricky. But anyways, Bryce Huff retirement, that one hurt too. But I think overall it was a great move to get younger. Bryce Huff retired. He's happy. Obviously, it made us like really, really focus on D-line depth in the offseason. But if I categorize it, obviously I'd say iffy because, we fixed it. We cleared the gap. But Bryce Huff was a good loss right there. So Spencer Burford, free agency. We lost him. Honestly, I did not know this until later in the offseason, but we addressed the depth already with Vidarian Lowe, and then I believe we signed somebody else, and then we drafted Carver Willis. And so, like, those are guys that are going to probably potentially start. Carver Willis, I hear really good things about, but I don't know about start right away. Let's see how the offseason goes, but I know Vidarian Lowe, I believe, could be our left guard. But Spencer Burford was decent. I think it's a type of iffy thing too. Because like our O-line, according to John Lynch, our O-line spectacular basically. But I think that our O-line is probably just above average. And I'm saying that because Christian McCaffrey does get good pops. Last year at the beginning of the year, I don't know what happened. But he does usually get good pops out of his runs, and so did Brian Robinson last year. So I don't know. I really think that we could upgrade at our O-line. I don't know what we're going to do after Trent. That's a different conversation for a different day, but that's definitely an iffy move. Jordan Elliott, free agency. Again, one of those players on D-line that I've heard, but not as much as Sam Okuananu. So I think this one is just honestly like, I don't even phenomenal pool. Like, is this what it is really? Nah, I think it won't have potential, but I think it's just, this is not good for depth, but just so I could categorize it in the middle, I'll just put it in the gray area. Okay. All right. And then, let's just finish off the players first. Nate Hobbs. I hear that he's just like, he's not really like a coverage safety. He's more of like a blitzer. And, somebody I forgot was Jack Jones, actually. So I'm just going to go ahead and add him here. I don't know why when I search it up here, it does not say anything about Jack Jones, but I do know Jack Jones we did sign. Sorry, let me go back to Nate Hobbs. I think that's great. I think potential impact. I think that people won't see it coming of what he could really help us with. I think that Raheem Morris, I don't really know too much about, but from what I hear, he got Nate Hobbs for a reason, that's for sure. And I think that he's going to use him the right way, and we're going to get the best out of Nate Hobbs. So I think there's potential impact there, potential moments he may have throughout the season that we are going to be grateful that we signed him this offseason. And then Jack Jones, I think he's a corner that I do know he's a little aggressive, so that's not great. But I do know that I do remember when he was on the Raiders too, he had a one-handed catch against the Chargers when they were blowing him out. And don't correct me if I'm mistaken though, it was the Chargers. But Jack Jones did have a really good year at the Raiders. Patriots, I think he was iffy, but I think that he's a developmental type of player that Raheem Morris and our new DB, our corners coach, will help him with. So I think that Jack Jones is also a potential impact. Definitely not just good for depth for both of them. They're good for depth, but I think they both could have potential impact because Jack Jones is also a big play type of player too, obviously. But sometimes that bites him in the butt. Maybe he could figure out how to balance that. Christian Kirk. I think that honestly, I was excited when I first saw it. I think that he's going to be good as like a, safety blanket for Brock if he gets to the end of his reads. But I do think that Christian Kirk is more just good for depth. I think that the rookie will actually pop off this year, Stribling. So I don't think Christian Kirk will have as much as an impact as I initially thought because we still have Ricky, we still have Mike, but he's definitely good for depth. So when he gets the opportunity, I think he will come through for us. So I think that was a huge signing just as a solid depth piece. Cam Sample, I hear that he might not even make the 53-man roster, also from David Lombardi, but I don't really know too much about him. Honestly, I think he could be good for depth. I don't really know too much about him to make really a speculation on him, but obviously bodies. We need bodies for D linemen, and I think that was just great for that point in itself. Vidarian Lowe, yes, I think could be a potential impact. Like I said, I believe he has a chance to be our left guard. Let's see what happens throughout the rest of the offseason, but he definitely has a potential impact. Like I said, O-lineman, I think is always an upgrade at this point. Like we could always upgrade, especially when Trent leaves. I think we could always draft. We could always bring in better players. We were so spoiled with Joe Staley to Trent Williams. We were so spoiled. There was no drop off for a left tackle, but now it seems like they may be a drop off unless we develop. I'm not sure if Aaron Lowe is the one that we could develop. No, I think Carver Willis is the one that we could develop into a left tackle. It was one of our draft picks, I believe, or one of our pickups. I believe it was draft picks, but yeah. Anyways, O-lineman is a little bit of a complication right now, but I think we'll be okay. I think we'll be enough to get past, and we have enough star players everywhere else, to be honest. And we still got Trent. Mike Evans. Come on. Do I even have to say anything? Mike Evans is a Super Bowl impact. People are downplaying it, and that's what kind of pisses me off a little bit because, bro, Mike Evans is still Mike Evans. I don't care how old he is. I don't care what you think about the San Francisco 49ers. Mike Evans is a receiver that Brock Purdy has never had as being a 49er. And Mike Evans is going to make that big play in every meaningful game. Mark my words. He is going to be the difference on our offense to help Christian McCaffrey with those big type of plays that'll get us all the way to the Super Bowl and not just get us there, but win us it. I promise you guys, Mike Evans never should be downplayed for the move of him coming to the 49ers. And I'm excited for that. I'm super excited for it. Bro, literally there was an off-season video of him just running a go route. People want to talk so much. It's just a go route. And then maybe that's what they're literally saying. Like it's just a go route. Maybe that's their hate. But literally you think that Mike Evans is only doing that this offseason? Be for real, bro. Be for real. He is not just doing that. That's all he's showing you. And I don't think people are ready for what he's going to bring. And especially with new fire, new motivation, with when he knows he's in a Super Bowl type team, like Super Bowl ready team. Like Mike Evans literally said he knows he's the missing piece. And I believe that too. Okay. Lastly, 2026 NFL draft class. I think, okay, let's go to it. Let's see. The draft class is right here. Okay. We have Jauan Stribling, Kalen Black, Carver Willis, Ephesians Prysock, Jaden Duggar, Enrique Cruz Jr. So I think that a lot of I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 6, I feel like will have an impact. And that's the first 5. Enrique Cruz, I don't know much about, but I keep hearing about Carver Willis, and that he's like George Kittle and stuff. I still got to look at his press conferences for rookie minicamp and stuff. But Kalen Black, I really like Kalen Black coming out of Indiana, a freaking champion winning team, ready to win a Super Bowl. Stribling, I think, is super freaking fast that it's going to just affect our offense in a way that no one's seen since Debo in his prime. Carver Willis, yes. Ephesians Prysock, I think he could be a great corner with Demo. And yeah, we need another solidified corner because unless Renardo Green steps up this year, I really felt iffy before we drafted Price Hawk. So I'm hoping that he could develop into a great corner. Renardo could be our depth piece, or maybe he steps up. I think that's a win-win for us. Jaden Duggar, I hear, is a depth piece and something more for down the line. And I think he's a great player, and I think that's a great idea. But I guess this year I would say 4 out of 6 of them are like a this year type of impact, which is the first 4. These. And so with that, I will go back to put them on phenomenal pool. I like our draft. I like that we ended up getting 6 draft picks instead of 4. I love that. I love that all around. And then we turn around after the draft and get, was it 6, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? 7. Anyways, okay. Well, it says we got 7 undrafted rookies. I hear a lot about Khalil Dinkins, that he's gonna that he's pretty good and that he was behind Tyler Warren, so that he has potential that wasn't able to be seen. That's why his stats are down. But that's an interesting piece that could be a great piece of depth. Bryson Eason, Wesley, all these other guys I don't really know about. I believe it was Kamara. One of these D linemen is, or was it Bryson Eason? One of these are from Indiana, and I think that they'll down the line have an impact. Hopefully not this year, because it would probably take a lot of injuries for him to play. But I hear he's undersized, but he's a dog. So I think that this will help us down the line. I think that this is more so, the undrafted free agents are more so good for depth. Because out of all of them, I mean, who is really going to, where did it go? Who is really going to have an impact this year, other than if like Khalil Dinkins gets some reps because Kittle's not back yet and something happens to Tonjes, God forbid. But, yeah. So it's more in the good for depth part, better down the line, but definitely not bad signings in my opinion. So this is the finished tier list. Let me know what you guys think down below. Rate it from 1 to 10. Let me know what you would change. Yeah. Next, we're going to be talking about Jauan Jennings a little bit, just real quick, briefly, because I just wanted to talk about how the Vikings went from Jalen Nailor to Jauan Jennings. Jalen Nailor, I've heard his name before, but it's not really a type of guy that's like a household name, obviously. I hear Jordan Addison more than Jalen Nailor, obviously. And I think that's because Jordan Addison's their second string. Is that what it says? The team reliable number 3 receiver behind Justin Jefferson. Jordan. Yeah. So Addison's their second. But going from Jalen Nailor to Jennings as your receiver 3, huge move for the Vikings. And Jalen Nailor just got signed to a 3-year deal for $35 million to the Las Vegas Raiders. They stole Jauan, bro. For $13 million, be for real, bro. Huge win for the Vikings. Congratulations. But I am a little bit pressed about that, if I'm being honest. But, I wish the best for Jauan, and I appreciate him taking a picture with me. That was freaking a great moment after a great game. So that's great for him, and I'm glad he got the money he wanted, and he's happy. Next segment, we will be doing 49ers opponents. The NFL schedule, like I said, is coming out. 2 days. 2 days and 19 hours and 2 minutes left. It is going to be released on May 14, 2026, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So I am obviously at the edge of my seat waiting for that. But for now, let us just predict the schedule. I know this is too early, but let's predict the schedule for wins and losses for the 49ers this year. I'm excited about this. I love doing this. As a kid, I always wanted to do this on a YouTube channel, and here I am. I'm doing it. Mom, are you proud of me? I know she is. All right, so let's start with the Vegas Raiders. Sorry, I'm just so excited. I'm honestly really excited. I just need some water. Hold on. All right, here we go. Las Vegas Raiders. Whoa, sorry. I'm super excited, bro. Vegas Raiders. Fernando Mendoza. That's pretty much it. And I'm telling you, Fernando is going to develop. He's going to be a great player. But obviously, these are one of these things that we won't know until we see the schedule. Like, are we going to face early Fernando when he's still getting used to it. Are we even gonna face Fernando? Is it gonna be who's there? Is it Kirk Cousins? Las Vegas Raiders QB room. Let's see. It's Kirk Cousins, bro. And and Clint Kubiak. I'm sorry, let me put some respect. Former 49ers coach, former Seahawks coach. Unfortunately, he won a Super Bowl with the Seahawks. But I think that the Vegas Raiders overall could be mid this year. Could be like a 9-8 type team. But I think that is a win. I think no matter what part of the schedule it is, just depending on what part of the schedule, it will be like a close game or not. That's pretty much it. Or somewhat a close game, at least like a 1 possession game. All right, and then I have the Rams, Seahawks, and Cardinals twice on here. Let's just say this one's the home game against the Rams. So like the Australia game, the Rams home game. I honestly think we're gonna come out with a bang. Niners are gonna upset all the Rams fans. I'm sorry. I actually think the Niners will unfortunately split with the Rams because I'm being unbiased here. I think they win the Australia game. And then I think the Rams do get it back at San Fran. And I think that because usually that's what happens. The Rams usually win in San Fran. At least last year, I believe, that's what happened. But I think we got to at least split. Rams are a great team. I have respect for them. But I'm sorry. I think that they're going to start 0-1. And this time, the NFC West team that starts 0-1 is not going to make the Super Bowl. That's what I hope so, at least, all right? Because we beat the Seahawks and they were 0-1, and then they won the Super Bowl. But whatever. Let's hope that doesn't repeat. So the Seahawks now. I don't know when we face them. I don't know why I'm trying to think of the schedule that came out already. But I think we split with the Seahawks too. I think that we win at Seattle. And weirdly, I think we lose at home as well. And that's because I believe that also happened. And I believe, no. I don't think it happened last year, but I think that usually happens from my memory. But I think Brock Purdy's record in Seattle before last year was undefeated. So let's just do that. Cardinals now. Cardinals. Let's be for real. We don't got to talk about that too much. Anyways, I wish the Cardinals the best this year, but I think they should still kind of tank somewhat so they could get more picks. But hope Jeremiah Love pops off, to be honest. Just not against the Niners. The Vikings, Jauan Jennings' team. I don't remember. Oh, you know what? I should probably pull it up. 49ers opponents because I need to know who's home and away. That's the only thing. So 49ers opponents, boom. Okay. The Vikings is home. Okay, our home. So wait, was the Raiders home or away? That's important. Okay, we're home too. Yeah, I mean, actually, that's not very important. It's the Raiders. But the Broncos. Oh, no. Why am I thinking the Broncos? Sorry. The Vikings at home with Jauan Jennings, with Jettas. Who's their quarterback? Are you serious, bro? Is it JJ? Vikings QB room. Did they not address that this offseason? Are they just sticking with JJ? Oh, Kyler. That's right. Okay. This also kind of depends on what part of the season. Because Kyler could like be new to the system and stuff. JJ could be slowly working his way into getting used to it too. Oh, they also signed Carson Wentz to a 1-year deal. Okay. That's very difficult. But I think there's too much going on in that organization. That's a win for us. I mean, there's not really enough. There's not really much to be said. There's a chance that depending on what part of the schedule this is, it could be a trap game because usually we do lose to the Vikings for some reason, other than when we won in the playoffs like several years past. But like the Vikings, they usually have a good defense. And wait, who is their defensive coordinator that's really good too? Vikings defensive coordinator. Let's see. Oh yeah, Brian Flores. He's super good. And for some reason, Kyle never wins that matchup for the most part. So, it could be a trap game. You know what? Just to be non-biased and to even this out, I will put the Vikings at a loss, to be honest. Maybe they pull something out. Maybe Kyler magic. He has that one good game of the season. Maybe it's the beginning of the season. Kyler's usually only good at the beginning of the season. Yeah. Eagles, though. Is it home or away? Home. Let's be honest. we've owned the Eagles the past couple of years after Brock's injury, and that whole NFC championship game was unfortunate. But I really do genuinely think that the Eagles are going to have a drop-off year this year. And I think we win that. And I think we win it pretty comfortably. Before the schedule drops, I got to look into it more, but I don't really know much of the Eagles offseason moves, but I know that they still have Jalen Hurts, and I know that A.J. Brown's potentially going to get traded, and that relationship is not good. And I know as a football player that is not good for your team. To have your star player especially have a weird type of relationship with your coach or even your teammates is what I hear. And I think Jalen Hurts is a good quarterback, but I don't think he's a 2-time winning Super Bowl champion. People are going to think I'm hating. He earned that Super Bowl run, and I'm not going to deny that. And I think that, like, he had a great game against the Chiefs when they lost, and then he had a great game when he finally won the Super Bowl and blew out the Chiefs. That was an amazing game. I'm going to admit it. But it seems like it's just inconsistent. And I think that the Eagles, Jalen Hurts is not a type of quarterback that could carry a team. And with the whole A.J. Brown situation and not too many crazy pieces on the Eagles, I think that they're going to have a drop-off this year. Maybe a 9-win team, honestly. And I think that people will be surprised. And I'm calling that right now. So I think that that's definitely one of our wins for sure. The Commanders, I think, will absolutely come out of nowhere. I'm going to be honest. Commanders had a great year 2 years ago. Everybody gave up on Jaden Daniels last year after, he got injured. Commanders had a drop-off year, and that's just what happened. But I honestly think that Jaden Daniels will bounce back. I do think that the Commanders will bounce back. Let's look at the roster here just very quickly because I believe in them. Look, we got Scary Terry still. They drafted Sonny Styles. Who's their running back? Rashad White's their starting running back. Okay, iffy. Odafe Owe, I'm pretty sure he's good. I think that, I don't know, something just tells me the Commanders are going to surprise you guys. I think that there's a chance they could still be third in the division maybe. But I do think that they're going to do better than people think, which is better than 7 wins, to be honest, at least. They're going to be at least an 8 to 9 win team for sure. Or more, who knows? They could surprise you, but not winning against us. Cowboys, I'm going to be honest. Bro. The Niners own the Cowboys, at least as of recent. But the Cowboys are coming up this year. They really are. I feel that. I think that Pickens staying was huge. CD, of course, being there. Dak is honestly a good quarterback. For some reason, you just can't show it in the playoffs, but he is a good quarterback. There's unfortunate things that happen to him in the playoffs, like the whole quarterback run. Couldn't get the spike off on time against the Niners. But I think that this is one of the games that might be a little bit tough. I think that the thing is, though, just like I value these other teams, I got to value our team. We are a superstar team this year. We're ready for the Super Bowl. And that's why I think this will be a very, very, very good and intriguing game. And I hear that it possibly may be a Sunday Night Football game. But I think the Niners do pull this off. But I think that'll be a great game and a close game that'll come down to the wire. That's for sure. So if it's Sunday Night Football, it'll be freaking phenomenal. Roger Goodell's freaking genius for that if he does that. The Chiefs. To be honest, I really want to say this is a win. But I'm pretty sure Kyle Shanahan's not undefeated, the opposite of that, unwin-feated against the Chiefs. And I think that continues unless Patrick Mahomes isn't playing, to be honest. I think that we don't throw all our cards out when we face the Chiefs in the regular season, and I think that's shown because then when we do in the playoffs, and it's a close Super Bowl, it goes overtime, but playoffs at least, regular season at least, I think the Chiefs win this. So I'm gonna put it in our loss column for now, but we'll see when the schedule comes out because we'll know a little bit more. Like, if it's later in the season, for sure, probably a loss. Early in the season, I'll give it a chance because Patrick Mahomes may not be back. So that's really it. The Chargers, I think they're a good team. Jim Harbaugh, former 49ers coach. I have a lot of respect. That was the Kaepernick days when I was younger, and I think that he definitely turned around the Chargers, but I don't know, bro. Something about the Chargers is just not good enough to match up against the Niners. And I just think that's just a clear win. I mean, the Chargers run game might be good. This might be an ugly game. This might be like a 10-13 type win. 30-13 type win. 3-13. Sorry, I don't know if I sounded like I said 30, but 3-13 type win. But we pull that out. The Giants, Jackson Dart is up and coming. Cam Scatteraboo, Malik Neighbors. They just got someone else, didn't they? Giants roster. Let's see real quick. They obviously have Thibodeau still. I could have sworn they drafted a receiver. Oh, they also got Isaiah Likely, Abdul Carter. The Giants are looking like a Super Bowl. Sorry, not a Super Bowl team. A superstar team on paper. I think that there's a chance that this could be a good game. The thing is, though, it's still the Giants. It's still Jackson Dart's second year. I think that he's not going to, there was a lot of hype for him last year. And I was one of those hypers. Like, I would hype him up. Like, he's doing great. And, he got that swag. But I think that this year it might bite him in the butt a little bit. Like, that swag, that confidence. And it might hurt him a little bit. And I think against the Niners, it might. And I think that the 49ers are too skilled. Their coaches and players are outmatched them in all categories. I just think that's a win. Giants are a young team, but they will be solid this year, to be honest. The Atlanta Falcons, to be honest, I don't really know much about the Falcons this offseason. Who is their quarterback, bro? Falcons QB room, because Kirk Cousins is gone. So who's their quarterback? Penix? That's right. Penix and Tua. I forgot Tua, bro. Okay, well, if Tua plays, it's a win. Penix plays, we still beat Penix last year. I just don't see the Falcons beating his. Like, I think that's fair. Just straight up because of the quarterbacks. So that's a win. Let's do the Dolphins first. The Dolphins are on a rebuild year. That's a free win. That should be a free win. But who knows? Bad teams sometimes come out of nowhere. If it's at the end of the schedule, maybe it's just a trap game too, but I just don't see that happening. Lastly, the Denver Broncos. Shout out to my boy Braylon. He's a Broncos fan. We always talk Broncos and Niners. And last year we did like 3 hours on the game on the PS5, not even playing, just talking and predicting who's going to make the playoffs, who's going to win. Obviously, we're both biased and we picked the Broncos and Niners to make the Super Bowl. But I genuinely think this could be a Super Bowl preview. It could be. Potentially. And it's not because I'm biased to my homie Braylon and for me, but I think there's a chance because the Niners are Super Bowl ready. The Broncos, honestly, were Super Bowl ready before Bo Nix got hurt. The only thing that will make me not believe that this is a preview is if Bo Nix comes back from injury late or if he comes back from injury on time, but he's not the same Bo Nix. And he starts making bonehead mistakes and he's not as confident. But I think this will be a good game. We haven't been looking at home and away, but to be honest, most of these is not really that much of an impact. The Cowboys, I think away could be an impact. Honestly, just to even it out, let's put the Cowboys as a loss just because it'll be a good game. We don't know when it's on the schedule and it's away. So just because of that, I'll put that. The Broncos, though, is going to be at home in the Niners Stadium. Would have been huge if it was in Denver, to be honest. I think I might have gave it to the Broncos if it was in Denver. But sorry, Braylon, the Niners beat the Broncos in the regular season at least. But we'll see what happens in the playoffs if they face each other in the Super Bowl. But I think that the Bo Nix injury could have an effect. If this is the beginning of the season, Niners for sure win. End of the season could be a good game. We'll see. I'll have to reassess that when I do the schedule, when the schedule releases. I mean, the rankings when the schedule releases. So this is my last. This is the last look at my tiers. I got the Raiders, Rams, Seahawks, Cardinals both times, Eagles, Commanders, Chargers, Giants, Falcons, Dolphins, and Broncos. Those are our wins, and our losses is the Rams away game, Seahawks away game, Vikings, Chiefs, Cowboys. So that makes us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12-5 team, I think, at minimum. Maybe 11-6 at minimum, but realistically, we could be 12-5. That's what I would say. So 12-5, here we come. Maybe 2 seed, 1 seed, maybe. But I do think there's a chance that we could win this Cowboys game. There's a chance that we could win this Chiefs game. There's a chance that The division games could go either way. So, who knows? Sometimes having the 1 seed though is not the best thing, but obviously it's an easier road to the Super Bowl, at least in this the fact that you got to play one last game. And I think that's huge and huge for recovery. But yeah, that is pretty much it. So if you guys like this video, please please subscribe. I just started this channel and I'm excited for the NFL season. So if you are, comment and like as well.